In this video, I'll do problem 2 of the practical practice final. This problem goes like this. Reading skills are important because they determine whether students understand the problems they have to solve. It may seem natural to assume, for instance, there's an S there, it shouldn't be there, for instance, that better overall English scores, English overall, suggest better overall math scores. Is that really the case? If so, what math grade can be expected if the overall grade for English is 80? So the first question again here is what are my two key values? And it looks like my first key value is the overall English scores, right? And my second key value is the overall math scores. Second question probably should be, are we interested in the difference between these two values, or are we interested in the way one is impacting the other? In this case, it seems clear enough that we're interested in the way they are impacting one another, because it seems, it goes like this. It may seem natural to assume, for instance, that better overall English scores, English overall, suggests better overall math scores. So it works like this. If my English scores go up, so do the overall math scores, this is suggesting. So this is a case of correlation. And if it's a correlation, in this case, they're both going in the same direction, right? So it's a positive correlation. So my hypothesis is that rho is going to be a positive number. And of course, my null is that there is no correlation, so that the correlation coefficient rho is equal to 0. So now we need to look at the Excel calculation sheet for correlation. So now I'm in the data file, and what we're after again is we want to compare the English overall grade, or not really to compare, but see how the English overall grade is impacting the math overall grade. So it's easy enough here to, I'm just going to make a selection of the English overall grade. I know that everything in there is fine because I did the tidying up section when doing problem number 1. So here I only need to make sure that I'm copying everything. And as usual, I'm going to do a paste special to get only the values. And everything seems to be being fine. And this is my response variable. So again, I'm copying here, making sure I get everything. I'm going to paste special values in here. So my two columns have the same height. Everything looks great. So the first step here is to look at the correlation at the graph, at the scatter plot, which is in this case pretty amazingly convincing. It's a very strong correlation indeed. So there's no doubt that I have a correlation there. My p-value looks, to go step by step here, I can say that my hypothesis holds within the sample, because my correlation here is a positive number, and it's a very impressive number too. And then what I need to ask is, does my hypothesis can be generalized? Can it be generalized to the population? So this is why I need to look at the p-value. I'm after a p-value of 1 tail because my hypothesis had a larger than sign. So I'm going to try here. Remember this trick: when I don't see the numbers, I'm going to create more decimal places, but apparently it's very small, this p-value. So I'm going to go instead here and ask for scientific notation, when indeed, see, it has an incredible number of zeros. So I'm going to use this value actually on the answer sheet, because otherwise it's going to be way too many zeros. But it's a 1-tail p-value, and it's indeed very small, so there's no doubt that HA can safely be assumed to hold in the population. And then my question asked, what math grade can be expected if the English grade is 80? And to figure that out, I have to punch in that 80 here, and then I get the response variable here. This is the value that I'm getting, 75%. So if I got 80 as an overall grade for English. I can expect 75 as an overall grade for math, but that's within my sample. Within the population, or in the greater population, it's going to be these numbers. So we know that in the sample, if you get 80 as a grade for English, you are expected to get 75, and we're 95% sure that in the population that number would be, the real value would be between 73% and 78%. And that's it for number 2.